What's up, guys? We are back with another Cosmic Legions Wave 1 review, and we're taking a look at a figure that I feel like is maybe sort of leading up to be like a sleeper hit in this wave, because the more we go on, the more I see people talk about this one. So we're taking a look at Xerion Spire. She is definitely a more unique figure in this wave. She's on the smaller side. She's a 2.0 female figure. And she's a sniper, she's got soft goods, but something about this one seems to be drawing a lot of attention. Now, she comes in our standard size package for this line, and as a result, she's kind of just in there. Like, there's a lot of negative space in this one because she is on the smaller side, but you've got her there in the window. You've got the hologram and name down there on the bottom. One spine will give you her factions as well as her specific bio, while the other spine is going to give you a write-up for the story of this particular book, and then the back of the package will give you cross-sell for everybody else that comes in this wave. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Cosmic Legions Xerion Spire, also known as Xeri, one of our more main character-ish type of entries in this line so far. She definitely has a more prominent role to play than some of the other characters so far. She seems relatively important to what will be an overall backstory, and she's got some pretty cool stuff going on as far as the figure goes. Now, as far as her parts, she's a lot of reuse. She's basically the same thing as the Tusk Engineer, but also done up in a very different way. So let's see what she can do, see how she moves around. Now, she does have soft goods. They don't really get in the way. I'm going to take them off just, so you can actually see what's going on, and then we'll get back to those. But this is what she looks like underneath of that pretty gnarly looking poncho cape kind of thing. So she's basically just a 2.0 female, and this uses mythic female parts also. So we've got our head that can look up a little bit. She can look down really good. You've got good tilt side to side. You got your rotation. Arms out at the shoulders. They, of course, rotate. We've got our single jointed, about 90 degree swiveling elbow. You've got rotation at your gauntlet and at the wrist. These are lateral side to side hinges. Now, she's a 2.0 figure, so she does have the diaphragm cut here. I have seen some folks have some concerns with this particular diaphragm because she has raised sculpture right here and on the midriff and at the breast line there. I've seen some folks sort of tearing that up, so watch what you're doing. She goes backwards, she can go forward, and you've got your tilt side to side. It's also a swivel point. I kind of nicked her. Yeah, I'm already doing it too. So watch out. Clearance there looks to be a little tight. And then there is a swivel down at the waist. It's just a normal waist twist, though. The 2.0 figures don't have the ball-jointed waists. Legs go out pretty much all the way. They're going to kick forward all the way. Backwards a good bit. You've got a thigh twist up there, kind of squeaky. And then we've got our single jointed, about 90 degree-ish knee. She's got a whole bunch of business going on the back of those knee pads. You've got swivel at the knee. Typical Legion's ankle, you've got rotation at the top of the ankle. Really, really good rocker there. And pretty solid hinge as well. So she's basically, any other 2.0 female figure you've ever messed with. They're pretty much all the same, very consistent. And she is no different. Despite being a Cosmic Legions figure, she's still in line with anything you're familiar with when it comes to female figures from the Mythic Legion side as well. Now, she may be fairly standard when it comes to articulation, but as far as the visuals here, Xeri is definitely a different kind of figure in this first wave. Now, I know I said that she is essentially the same thing as the Tusk Engineer, but they don't look anything alike, and the intents of those figures are very, very different. That Tusk is a very monochrome, black and red figure. Xeri has a bunch of different colors, not to mention the fact this very unique set of head sculpts, and she has this really crazy cape kind of poncho thing, which I want to touch on first before we sort of dig any deeper, because this is really cool. She was honestly not anywhere near the top of my most excited list for this wave when we, way back when the pre-order first happened, but I'm so much happier with this figure in person, and I think a lot of that comes down to this, honestly, really oddly designed bit of soft goods, and I say that in the sense that it's just sort of a weird shape, but it does work. It's like a space poncho almost, but it has wiring all around it, so every seam covered in wire, and you can move these sides independently from one another, so you can have her sort of billowing in the wind. It's got the wired hood up here, which does sit fairly nicely on her head. In general, it just seems to be really well sized. Fabric also feels really nice too. As premium as it's going to get for something of this size. The back, though, is what's really cool because we've got her sort of like sub-faction or main faction, I guess, the Mortal Thorn insignia on here, which looks really good. It adds a pop of color, you know, the black on the gray, not to mention an entirely different finish and texture, so it's definitely going to stand out. It's got a clasp on the chest here, so you don't have to worry about it cinching on the figure. It's going to stay on no matter what. And it's different on the inside, so it's got brown fabric on the inside and the gray on the outside, and it's just really easy to work with. So I'm really happy with this. I think it makes her a lot more interesting than she might be otherwise, because she is a very muted looking kind of figure. Her skin is obviously bright blue, and that's a big focal point, but the rest of the body is all of these like earth tones, which is kind of different from some of the stuff we're seeing in this line so far. You know, like Oleg Thygar's spacesuit, for example, is really vibrant with color. Slog is bright green, Kragnar is bright orange, and she's got these really earthy tones, which of course work because she's supposed to be sort of clandestine. She doesn't exactly want to be found. She doesn't want to be seen. You know, she's got a sniper rifle, so she's not somebody that is going to be out in broad daylight, kind of lurking in the shadows a little bit. And some of this really does work in her favor, because there's a lot of details on this figure that really just look cool once you get her in person. All sorts of little deco hits on this big belt buckle. All of the individual straps and clasps on the pouches on all of them are painted, which I was kind of surprised to see. I know that's not too uncommon for Legions, but that's a lot of paint hits specifically. All of the little screws, and I don't know, they're not rivets, they're definitely like screws on her armor, are painted as well. She's got a nice sort of dusky bronzish color on all this armor, which also has like sort of a grittiness and a grime to it. And then her actual torso is painted in a number of different colors as well. You've got that base sort of gray, purple, black, and the brown, and then she's got these little silver shoulder pads to sort of beef her up a little bit there, because she doesn't come with anything else really to make her much bigger. She's going to be one of the more, well, feminine for sure looking figures in this wave, because despite the fact that the engineer is very similar, it has that backpack on it that makes it look a little bit more menacing. Ziri does look maybe not to be one of the most rough and tumble figures out there, but at the same time, she sort of seems like she could be. And she's got this really cool head sculpt, very unique color scheme, all of these sort of patterns and designs all over under the eyes, the chin, and then going down the forehead. Nice shading from that blue fade to the darker blue. It's sort of a turquoise color. And then I do like the asymmetrical hair design. Tons of sculpt up there, not to mention a nice blue wash to bring it out to sort of match her skin tone. So again, she wasn't anywhere near the top of my list when it came to figures that I thought looked cool. I thought she was among the more boring, and I understand what they're going for here. She's definitely someone that's more in the shadows. She shouldn't be bright and vibrant. Once you get her in hand, there's a lot to look at here, a lot of little details specifically on the stuff she's wearing, her color scheme, and not to mention that really cool cape. Now for some size comparisons, let's do other Legions to start. We'll do 1.0 and 2.0. So we've got a 1.0 Cosmic on the left with a Tusk Sentry. We've got a female 2.0 Mythic here with our Orc Queen on the right. So you get an idea of how she stacks up with 1.0 stuff, but also you can see that she's going to fit in just fine with the Mythic females too, if you want to go that route. Let's pull the Queen aside. Let's do some other lines. So here's a Super 7 Turtle. There is Leo. Let's pull the Sentry aside, and here is a Figuarts. Here's Turles from Dragon Ball Z. Let's do a Marvel Legends so we get some Hasbro representation. Here is Banshee. You can see she lines up pretty good with normal-sized Marvel Legend male figures. They're relatively comparable, but of course they're not really in the same scale. And let's move Turles. Let's do a Mezco. Here is Conan. And then let's do one more. Let's do a Masterverse. Here is Faker. So if you've got any familiarity with the 2.0 females on the Mythic side, you know exactly what you're getting into here. She is going to scale smaller than the majority of the male figures if they're 1.0, and then she's going to fit in relatively okay overall with other lines because she does skew on the slender side as well. Now as far as accessories goes, Ziri gets kind of a little bit of everything here. She gets weapons, she gets hands, she gets extra heads, she gets the little projection doodad, she's got a cape, so she has a lot going for her. Again, she kind of gets a little bit extra, I think. Like, she feels like she has a little bit more for a standard figure, maybe owing to her being sort of a more main character type of person. But we do get, to start with, we do get an extra head sculpt. This one actually comes with this mask on it as well. So she's got like this breathing apparatus or something that sits over her face. It's a separate piece, And it actually does peg in to the underside of her head. So you've got options here when it comes to how you display her. I do find that to be slightly on the frustrating side to get that thing to sort of sit correctly, but once you get it, you'll understand how it works. So you can take that off. It doesn't necessarily go on the other head all that well. You can maybe fudge it, but it seems to be more specifically meant for this head sculpt because it has the tab on the inside. And then you've got, you know, this extra head sculpt here that has her hair up in a bun with like one bang hanging down. So you do get a little bit of a difference in look, in style from head to head on this one. We do get some extra hands. And this is another figure that is part of the hands pack. So she's part of the heroes pack. So if you get the hands pack, you're going to get a bunch of other accessories or other hands as well. All she comes with in the box are 2 sets of trigger finger hands, one with each style of joint of hinge. And then she comes with her weaponry. So she gets the little blasters, and hers are done up in this sort of like bronzy gold with some really nasty wash look to them. So these have kind of a signature color for her. So they're a little bit unique in terms of their color scheme. So you get 2 of those. And then she also gets the sniper rifle, which is also done up a little bit more detailed in terms of deco compared to, say, the Tusk Sentry that also comes with this. Hers has more of that sort of grimy gold color all over it. She's got like a wooden stock back here, and there's nice paint detail on that. So that's a really big difference on that. And then she's also got this strap here that will allow you to, you know, sling it over her shoulder. You don't really have to do a whole lot to actually make it work because it's so big. But you actually do have a functional strap. Like that clasp on there is a real clasp, so you can use that if you want to be a little bit more specific about how you pose it. You can adjust that strap as well, but it's meant to, of course, sling over her shoulder so she can have this big sniper rifle, which is like as tall as she is, on the go. So we've got some pretty cool weaponry, and of course the sniper rifle kind of plays up the idea that they're going for here. A little bit more of a clandestine type of character, you know, a little bit of a sneak. Doesn't want to be seen. And then she gets one of my favorite accessories, like in the whole line right now, because I just like this stuff. She gets one of these little hologram projections of the Cosmerium itself, and hers is done up in sort of a pink color, which I do really like. So we got a bunch of different options when it comes to these now. And of course, she does come with the little pegs, the little clear pegs, so you can pop those side arms into the peg holes on the back, right back there, if you want to stow some weaponry for her. So you've got those to make them a little bit more modular. So she has, again, a pretty solid spread. I think she does have kind of a little bit extra, slight bit extra, again, maybe owing to her place of prominence in some degree to the story, but she does have a little bit of everything here. So yeah, overall, I really, really like this figure. And again, I like her a lot more than I was expecting to. I wasn't expecting to dislike her in any way, shape, or form, but I wasn't wowed by the initial look of this particular figure. Something about it it didn't look all that exciting to me, but getting her in hand, seeing these parts in this color scheme, in this configuration with the soft goods, I really, again, like the soft goods. I love the head sculpts that she has. The paint on them is tremendous. I love the colors. I love the bright skin versus these dark earthy tones on her weapons and on her gear. And then she, of course, comes with some really solid accessories, too. I like the little mask thing. It adds another way to display this character without giving us a third head. I like the fact she comes with the projection thing, and then she's got some really cool weapons as well. So that's going to do it for this look at the 4 Horsemen Cosmic Legion's Xerion Spire. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.